Agriculture at the bank. And I think a warm welcome to our colleagues from Argentina. I think really appreciate Mr. Fernando, you really spending busy time. You are going through the COVID crisis and doing so many important things in the country. But at that time, you're sharing experiences with us. It's a privilege to have you here. A warm welcome to Carlos as well, Carlos Alberto and Javier Servio. I think all of you we are really looking forward to that. In COVID-19, there are countries which are really looking for how we handle agrologistics because supply chains have got disrupted quite significantly. And agriculture, is really affected. Farmers, the logistics providers, and the other buyers are definitely finding it difficult to connect with each other because of a lot of issues of social distancing and other kinds of things which are there. So I think when Diego told us about what you are doing in Argentina, on how private sector and public sector are together developing this agrologistics software, we thought this was a good opportunity because we have all 16 other countries looking for similar solutions right now all over the globe. So I'm sure that people from other countries are also doing this. There's a huge interest in this topic. So I would now introduce the first presenter would be Argentina, has extensive experience on these issues in Argentina. He also has done a lot of executive programs on agribusiness at Illinois University. Over to you, Mr. Fernando, for the first part of the presentation. And I would ask everyone who is joining, there are two things we are doing webinars when we are not face-to-face. Please mute your mics. The only speaker unmutes, everyone else mutes. Otherwise, we'll find it difficult to listen to what's happening. And the second point is, please start asking questions while the presentation is going on. There is not going to be any opportunity to ask face-to-face questions. We are going to look at the chat box and we will harvest questions from there to do the Q&A at the end. So I would suggest that as soon as you think about a question, start putting it in the chat column there. So because there is no opportunity to physically. Okay, so please keep on asking the questions. If you start asking the questions from the beginning, then we will harvest a good set of questions, and I'll assure you that I'll incorporate most of them when we raise these issues to the participants. We have also two discussants, Pablo Valdivia Zelaya, a senior agribusiness specialist at the World Bank, and Maria Florencia Milan, agrologistics specialist at the World Bank, whom I will ask to briefly come in after the presenters have come in. Over to you, Mr. Julian. Please go ahead. Mr. Fernando. Hello.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries of Argentina, the opportunity to present you this project. We started by the challenges posed by COVID-19 to guarantee the sanitary state of the agents that are part of the production chains and the normal supply of agricultural products and food in the country. We especially thank the authority of the World Bank and the organizers of this webinar for the opportunity they offered us to present this initiative and collect the valuable suggestions, and contributions that both the commentators and all those who are talking this exhibition online can give us. The next, please. Current situation in health matters that are registered in the planet based on the COVID-19 pandemic and economic damages that this event entails determines that governments must have a public policy to contribute to the functioning of food supply chains, raw materials, and agricultural inputs in the sanitary conditions suitable for the entire population. One of the key aspects in the framework of this policy is the structuring of an information system based on the use of GPS through an application of the cell phones of truck drivers to achieve fluidity and continuity in the transportation system and food distribution. A system of this type has been implemented with auspicious results in the oilseed and grain chains, the most important in the country in terms of production and commercialized volume, by the Rosario Stock Exchange this year and through the MuvinApp platform. Next, please. In a large, la anterior. Sí. Mira. Okay, thank you so much. In a large country like Argentina, where in many cases the area of origin of the products and the centers of demand for them are far from each other, the transport stage assumes a key role in the framework of this policy. It is necessary to guarantee the appropriate sanitary conditions for both the transporters and the personnel linked to the logistics stage of each chain and for all the material transported, avoiding delays for not complying with those conditions. This could have negative effects on arrival in time and products in the shipping ports and consumption centers too. Consequently, we are considering the use for this platform in the rest of the actors in the oilseed and grain chain, mainly those linked to other ports of shipment and the other existing serial exchange in the country, and to the other relevant agro-industrial chains in Argentina. Please, Bolsa team.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say that it's an honor for us to stay here today with the World Bank and Argentina Agriculture Ministry talking about this project, and also having the opportunity to present Rosario Board of Trade and our digital strategy, including MuvinApp. So, who we are? Rosario Board of Trade is a 136 years old non-profit organization. Our board is the biggest trading floor and grain market in Argentina, trading more than the 50% of Argentinian crop. In that context, our main goal is to promote and take care of the correct legislation and business framework in the trading of food, security, and financial assets. Just to give you some numbers, as we said, we are one of the biggest concentrated grain cash market in the world, and just only in 2019, we trade 65 million tons, which is more or less 125,000 contracts registered on our platform. And as an over-the-counter market, sellers, buyers, and brokers make agreement every day on our floor and on every contract that they have. We have right now 175 traders which are authorized to work in our floor. And our main market is the grain market, as we said, but also we have another market like financial, which is the ROFEX, cattle, which is Rosgan, and for example, pork, which is Ros pork. Finally, BCR have two principal commercial activities. One is related with the commercial analyst of the grain. We receive thousands of samples every day in our lab. And the other one is what we call digital services. As we are going to see two slides, just an overview of our digital services. But first of all, as part of our digital strategy, we would like to share with you that we believe in a development of different services as an integrated vision, all together integrated like a digital ecosystem. So just to give you an example, Confirma is a friendly user tool which allows people to sign contract and different agreement with digital sign. It was born on 1998, it has more than 20 years, and it was the first digital platform with digital sign in Argentina. And just to give you an example, you have to think in a farmer, maybe which is in Tucumán City, which is more than 1,000 kilometers away from Rosario ports. And this farmer sold corn to an exporter, which is in Rosario, using maybe a broker company who is in Buenos Aires City. If you have to make this whole operation in a paper contract, maybe it takes you between 3 or 5 days. But instead of that, you can do it using Confirma with digital sign to carry out the whole operation only in a couple of minutes, which allows obviously to the farmer to collect his money before and to reduce cost and time to all the grain change. Just to finish with this slide, we can talk about Gigs. Gigs is an open API protocol that we define with the whole agro-industry chain to share information between all the systems that we have. If we move to the next slide, Lloyd, we can see 4 more solutions. Rospork, for example, is we are launching next month the first digital pork market in Argentina. And the last one, which is in this slide, is MuvinApp, and is the solution that we are going to talk about right now. First of all, I would like to say that Moving is our digital logistics solution, but it's a result of an open innovation process. In BCR, we have an innovation area, and we execute open innovation programs. And at the end of last year, 2019, we understand that we need a digital solution, a digital logistics solution to add to all of the other solution that we have. So we start to looking for in the market. We have different kind of agreement, for example, with Israel Innovation Authority in Israel, St. Louis City in the US, Catalonia, another hub, international innovation hub in the world. And we start to looking for this kind of solutions. And finally, 3 months ago, at the beginning of this year, we make the deal with MuvinApp, and right now we can say that MuvinApp is one more of our digital solution in Rosario Board of Trade. But before to start to talk about Moving, let me tell you what are the issues that we found in the industry. First of all, we understand that we have different players with different points of view and interest and business size. In this industry, we don't see many people using tools based on technology. Maybe you can find people using Excel, emails, doing their business only by phone. So it's not a technology mature industry. Also, we can see a lack of comprehensive vision. Each player only can see his own problem, but they don't have the whole picture. Just to give you some more numbers, the grain truck fleet in Argentina is 150,000 trucks, but the 80% of that fleet belong to independent contractors, only one person who drives his trucks. And during the harvest season, 10,000 trucks go in and go out from Rosario and his port. So we are in a very specific point in the map with a lot of trucks and traffic on harvest season. So taking a view to these issues, what are the main functions that we have in Moving? We have three principal functions, which is daily quotes, cargos, and port terminals. As we said, on the daily quote, we manage the commercial logistic planning for executing contract. As we had said, there are more than 10,000 trucks on harvest season, and it's really difficult for every company to get, delivery, and trace every quote on every truck which is traveling to the port. Just to make a clear definition, what we call the daily quote. The daily quote is the day and the time when the truck needs to arrive to the port. This allows truck drivers to travel insecure, the required and right documentation to do it. If you don't have the quote, you cannot drive to the port. So you have to understand that in season, the daily quote is a limited resource and is very important for every company to try to administer the resource in an efficient way. So MuvinApp also is integrated via APIs with the national transport system we call STOP here in Argentina. And this system creates the daily quote, and we can take the information from there. And with this information, our user can get automatically every record, manage delivery, and we can guarantee the whole traceability of each trips and transactions. Also, you can use the application through different kind of interfaces through the web, using our apps. We have an apps to customers and apps to drivers. And also you can do it through WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp integrated chatbot, so you can take the information through WhatsApp if you want. And right now we have 5,000 trucks, and we want to achieve at the end of the year 15 trucks into our platform. So finally, just to give you the highlight that we understand that we have right now. First of all, we believe that we have the opportunity to expand this technology to the other countries in the region. We were talking with Bolivia and Paraguay in the past month. And the second statement is really important. I would like to especially highlight. You have to understand that when the companies put all their information, logistic and commercial information in a platform, it's really important to understand who is the company or the institution which is administrating this information. So when you think in safety, confidentiality, and continuity of the solution in the long term, you have to think in Rosario Board of Trade, 135 years old and more than 20 years during digital solutions to the agriculture industry. Right now we have 14 professionals of IT and logistics working only in MuvinApp. This solution was launched at the beginning of last year, but it was in development from the last 3, with more of 30,000 accumulated coding hours. Our commercial model is a traditional SaaS, software as a service, and we believe that we are the only agri-food solution with this whole 360 view of the whole change. And just to finish, remark that after the deal, the intellectual property of MuvinApp is 100% of Rosario Board of Trade, but we as suppliers, we supply public information about logistics to the industry in a general nature, while at the same time we are preserving the confidentiality of our customers. So this is what we want to talk about MuvinApp today. Carlos? You need to turn on the microphone, Carlos.
Could you hear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Taking in consideration the exposed situation, Majib and the BCR have decided to move towards the formation of a strategic alliance to expand the MuvinApp system in order to maximize visions and optimize the use of public-private resources. This alliance will take advantage of the path covered by BCR in grain and oilseed chains, projecting technological capacities in the framework of a public policy and keeping BCR's intellectual property of MuvinApp. The expansion of the MuvinApp systems will also contribute to optimizing the cost of transporting products from regional economies and moving towards the creation of a digital agri-food map in time. The next, Aloy. Thank you. As was previously stated, we consider the convenience of a gradual extension of MuvinApp to the transport stage in other agricultural chains. In order to establish the priorities to incorporate to the project, we will proceed to formulate the corresponding risk matrices. Risk matrices are graphic representations that allow showing in a simple way different risks associated with factors that are considered critical in relation to the development of a certain activity. They constitute valuable management tools to determine objectively relevant risks to obtain certain goals, based on the consideration of both the probability of occurrence of an adverse event, highly probable, occasional, or remote, and the severity of its impact, critical, considerable, moderate, or insignificant. The identified risk is the absence of required documentation for transport and/or the lack of compliance with the requirements and protocols established according to each chain that may jeopardize compliance with sanitary conditions and/or the normal supply of products. Obviously, the levels of existence of these risks differ significantly between the different value chains. The information to be collected for each chain will originate from the data on health and other documentation for drivers, the vehicles, products, byproducts, supplies, and personnel that are transported. These risk matrices for each chain are complemented by the preparation of contingency plans in which the way of acting in each situation to solve the problem must be clearly expressed. Julian?
Thank you. The development of this public policy initiative is envisaged within the framework of a gradual but sustained process that will be carried out by the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries of Argentina. In order to strengthen this initiative, we are ready to incorporate into it the valuable experience developed in other countries in this area. We are seeing that this initiative could represent a great opportunity for joint work in order to promote technological development in agriculture with the collaboration and experience of World Bank, professional knowledge for us. Thank you. We are a team, Mr. Team, Mr. Salice, please. Miss senza cosa. This is our team, and Carlos, and Nora, and David. And we remain at your disposal for all the suggestions and inquiries that you deem convenient to make.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I apologize to you to referring you as Fernando, but I think I should introduce you as Mr. Julian Azarata. So I apologize for introducing you wrongly. This was a fantastic presentation. I think it also was very well done in terms of the different roles of public and private sector and how Rosario Board of Trade is bringing a technology solution and a platform and software as a service there. I think I also like the way you introduced your whole team in the virtual format. I've not seen a presenter introducing the whole team, so it's very innovative and very creative, I would say that. And we were able to see all of your team in the virtual format. So I would request now people who are on the what you call it participants to keep on asking questions through the chat box. Please understand that it will be difficult for us to get face-to-face questions. So I have seen that you are reluctant in asking questions. So please be more proactive in the next 5 to 10 minutes while discussants are talking, so that we can harvest more questions for the panelists there. So I will now move to our discussants. Basically, our Pablo Valdivia Zelaya first, Senior Agribusiness Specialist, and following that, Maria Florencia Milan. Please go ahead, Pablo.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. This is Pablo.
Request everyone to mute a little bit, because I think it will be difficult for us to hear if everyone is not muted. Pablo.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Julián Echazarreta, for the opportunity of having the opportunity to hear your presentations, a very well and comprehensive presentation about this initiative, as well as the other presenters during this BBL event. Well, this is an outstanding application from the point of view, given the constraints and the limitations that arose from the COVID situations nowadays, and also given the volume of transport that Mr. Diego was explaining about, the traceability of transport that arrives to the port on a daily basis, particularly during the harvest season. It was a well-defined and problem definition that a public-private initiative tried to come up with a solution that involves a complex situation that contemplates the participations of different stakeholders, and based on the presentation made by the presenters, also is trying to provide and scale up the solutions to other countries and other stakeholders abroad from Argentina. Definitely, there are several interesting questions that have been raised by the participants today, and also I'm joining with several questions I have in terms of operation issues. I think probably this is the moment, if the organizers allow me to point out a little bit of some of them. I couldn't resist the opportunity to check the webpage of MuvinApp in Argentina, and I saw that one of the services has to do with the advance of payments. And it is my understanding, given the COVID situation in Argentina as well, that it was difficult for transporters and also for producers to come up with the liquidity on time, and that was creating problems for the delivery of supply chains. So if you allow me to ask the first questions in this session, I was wondering how this app helped the different stakeholders and contractors to sort it out the problems of advanced payment. And also I would like to ask the presenters if you could kindly describe a little bit about the development process, considering again that this application is intended to meet the different needs from different stakeholders at different levels, starting from a huge amount of individual contractors, but also the port, public institutions, and private institutions. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Pablo. So I would request the presenters, would you like to answer these two questions? Because then otherwise we will have too many questions together. So we will go it in phases. So, or should we get, Maria to also raise some questions, and then we can pool Pablo and Maria's questions before we get to the audience questions also. Okay. So Maria, can you go ahead and ask make your intervention as well?
Yes. Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Good morning. And first, thank you for inviting me to discuss on this presentation. It's really interesting for me. I feel very enthusiastic about this application, how the board of trade of Rosario to the Ministry of Agriculture in Argentina is trying to put together this solution to bring benefits on the logistic chain. Back in 2016, I was part of a team that we analyzed the grain chains in Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. And in particular for Argentina, we found that coordination was a key factor providing with extra costs on the logistic chain. And we made some benchmark with other countries, and we found that Argentina, in a specific grain chain, mainly soy and mainly soy, was percent than the benchmark that we use to make these benchmarks. So what we found, and what was our main recommendation, was to improve coordination, and one of the ways to improve coordination was that a third agency, that in this case would be this public-private partnership between the ministry and the Board of Trade, could enhance the system in the ports, because one problem was that this going on to enforce and long delays in the entrance of the ports. So the unloading capacity at ports, either for ships or for so that these two factors together made up to 60% of the extra cost. Just solving that with the Muvin application, you will have a lot of impact in terms of what we found in our study. So my question is related to that. With the 5,000 trucks you already are using the application, if you have metrics already, and you know how much time and how much cost are you solving with the use of the application, right? And also another question in terms of if you know if a similar application is being underused in other country, like if you had made some benchmark. Diego told us that they are talking with other countries in order to use MuvinApp, but if you had made some comparisons with other countries in order to know if this is something that someone else is doing. And third but not least, in terms of risk, you presented that matrix that I really like it. If you could provide with more detail what means agency there, or what are you trying to solve with the application? And congratulations to all. I feel, as I said at the beginning, very enthusiastic about the application. I think it could really improve the logistics in Argentina for the grains. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pablo and Maria. I would request now the presenters, in whichever order you want to go, to answer some of these questions, because there are too many questions in this. Actually, there are 6 questions already. So I would leave you to choose the questions you want to answer, because we have a lot of people waiting in the queue to ask questions as well. So, so who is going to get started? Can you please let me know? Is it?
I can get started if you let me go on.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I was taking some notes just to don't forget any of the questions. The first is about the digital payment. As we told you, in Rosario Board of Trade, we have different markets. One of our market, of the biggest market that we have, is Rofex. Rofex is a 100% financial and future market. Right now, we are working to create in that with that market a digital payment solution. We don't have it in this moment, but we are working to have some digital payment solution, because we understand that we can use in a different solution that we have. For example, we told you that we are launching Rospork. Rospork is a digital marketplace of pork, and in that market we have a secure payment transaction that we make with the Rofex market. So what we believe is that we can integrate Movin in the future with one of our digital payment to try to allow drivers to pay in a digital way when we need. Then another question is about KPIs, metrics, cost. Right now, as we told you, we are.
Diego,
yes, Javier.
if you let me, I introduce myself. I am Javier Servio, Institutional and Market Director at BCR, Rosario Board of Trade. As Diego said, we have several markets operating inside our board. One of them is called MAV, is a financial market. It's the only market in Argentina that allows to medium and small enterprise to get financial from the capital markets. And one instrument we launched a few months ago, we call eCheck. The eCheck, it's an electronic check payment that you can use in advance. For example, you can send an eCheck with a payment date 60 days from now, and it allows to the market to negotiate that eCheck in order to for example, the contractors to get money in advance by selling those eCheck at the market. During this COVID-19 problem, these operations has a very huge development, and we are negotiating nowadays more or less 300 million pesos each day in this market. So it's a very good example of linked market inside Rosario Board of Trade. I wanted to say that because it's a very good example of the crisis that COVID-19 has introduced and how we are resolving in Argentina. Please, Diego, you can continue.
Diego, go ahead and answer the other questions, please. Thank you.
Okay, you listen me right now?
Yes, we can listen to you. Well,
okay.
Go ahead.
The next question is about KPIs, metrics, and cost. We are building metrics. As we told you, we made the deal with Moving just 3 months ago. We were working a lot to integrate with our data centers to make the migration of the solution and technical things and many commercials with the export, for example, and ports. Right now, we believe that we are contributing more in the time. The solution is allowing people to make more efficiency many of the tasks that we have. You have to think they need to manage thousands of daily quotes, and you have companies which are doing this with the phone, with Excels, with emails, and right now they have an integrated platform to administer all this information. In that way, we believe that we are making more efficiency everything, but we don't have KPIs regarding logistic and logistics cost right now. We are working on that. We don't have that kind of information today. Then I am trying to remember the next. Yes, Javier.
If you allow me, I took a note of another question. It was regarding on how we manage to take into account all the interest of the different stakeholders that work in the grain and oilseed chain. And I think that that is one of the key issues that allow to BCR to be successful in this project, because as Diego said in his presentation, we are a non-profit organization, and all those chambers, such as exporters, farmers, brokers, are participating in our board. So their interests are considered in all the decisions that are made by Rosario Board of Trade. So we can have the whole picture, the whole view of the chain, and we are able to manage all these interests. If we were a private company, perhaps we cannot achieve this issue. So that's allowed to those parts to have confidence in our shop, and it's a key point.
Thank you very much, Javier. That's very useful. You answered Pablo's question about trust between the different stakeholders quite well. Diego, you want to take other questions, or should I now take the audience questions and give you a second set of questions now?
We can move forward to other questions.
Okay.
I think Julian and Carlos want to say something.
Okay. Carlos, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Parmesh. I want to answer the question about the elaboration of risk matrices. We have different stage and different chains. But in this situation, we put the key in only in transport chain, transport stage in different chains, and not all risks associated with transport chains. If a truck has a puncture of a tire, we don't consider it in this matrices risk. We consider that the risk that we are going to manage is related to the lack or insufficient documentation to let the circulation of these drugs by all the routes of the country. Here we have two situations. One mainly linked to COVID-19 that we consider that it could have permanent effects linked not only to COVID-19, because in order to other damage or health damage that could be in the future. This affects mainly to drivers, because the lack of documentation could do that the driver would stop and not go forward to his destiny with his truck. And the other consideration is about the goods that are transported in the vehicle. Here are documentation of different kinds, of different origin, mainly linked to sanitary conditions of the food. Then it's important to take in consideration the regulations of SENASA, the health service of foods in Argentina, and taking jointly the risk of absence of documentation, sanitary documentation of drivers, and the documentation linked to goods, we consider that the risk to take in consideration in the matrix is the losses of time and risk that good couldn't arrive in time and the place where it can arrive. And this could imply that could be difficult to take the to arrive the food supply in the time. And in many cases, if we consider little chains and little places to supply, well, it could be a problem to arrive with food in time to the population of different parts of the Argentina.
Thank you very much, Carlos. I think, Julian, would you like to make an intervention at this stage? Okay. So, Diego, should I go ahead with the other set of questions now?
I think Julian is going to ask a question, respond to a question.
Okay, I'll wait.
Sí, adelante.
Thank you, Carlos. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Julian.
Okay. I'm sorry for my bad English, but I remember in March, I remember in March with the COVID-19 in this country, at the same time, starting crop, and we need to make something. The first step was investigate in Argentina. What can I do? What can we do? And in our analysis, the best partner is Rosario Stock Exchange, and the best product is the MuvinApp platform. For this question, we think is a very important opportunity. Is very necessary, and the future is sustainable. Thank you. And I'm sorry for my English.
Not at all, Julian. You made it loud and clear. You are one of the few governments which is thinking very proactively. I want to congratulate you again for that. You brought in the commodity exchange to work with you, develop a solution. Very, very innovative and very creative. I think we have many countries with commodity exchange, but you don't see a similar response. And I hope they will be learning from you and trying to do something similar. Now, I'll take the next set of questions. Some are asking you the enabling conditions. Will this work if there are no commodity exchanges? You know, in a country where there's no commodity exchange, will this approach work? That's number one. Two, will it work on other commodities other than grains? So we already said you are doing it in pork and other things, but how will this work in things beyond grains? You know, is it commodity neutral, this approach, or it works better with certain commodities? And then the other challenges are that you know, what is public and what is private in this? Is the financing coming from public sources and some, or it's part public, part private? Is the initial cost being funded from public sources, and then the service delivery is done through software, as you know, Diego talked about? So these are first set of questions, and then I will come to the other questions after that. We want to understand who is financing this. Is it public or is it private?
Diego, as you like.
I started, and if you want, you can add some comment, Javier. Don't worry, we can do it together. We understand, first of all, that the solution, the beginning of the solution is with Rosario Board of Trade, and our solution is right now working in the grain value chain. And that is we have the intellectual property of the solution. But we are talking with the ministry they see the opportunity to extend the rest of the whole solution to the rest of the agri-food value chain. So answering one of the question is if the app can work in different value chains. Of course, we don't see any kind of trouble to customize, to make some little changes to allow to use in different value chains instead of grains. We are making the private financial working in the solution, and we have the focus on grain. Then, as a team with the Argentinian Agricultural Ministry, we are working to get the funds to work in the others value chain, and that is the working that Carlos was telling you about the risk matrix, and to understand what the other value chains are needed. So that is the comment that I have, Javier.
Very clear. Yeah.
The other question is about that. Does this work? You have a structured commodity exchange where transactions are getting recorded, or will it work in situations where there are no commodity exchanges? What's your response to that?
Could you hear?
So, excuse me, Carlos. We think that existing of board in the country, it's a good point of start. If you don't have a board where all the chambers are represented, you will have to go to the path to have all the acceptance or all the agreements between inside the chain. So we think that an existing commodity board of trade, it's a good point of start without any doubt. We are not saying that it's impossible to develop these solutions if you don't have a board in a country particular, but you have a lot of things already done with the board.
Carlos, you want to comment?
Yes. About the possibility of extension of other chains is obviously linked to this position of funds, mainly taking in consideration, as Julian said, that in Argentina we have different chains from subtropical products and grains and cattle, and very different according to the different provinces and regions of Argentina. And the work with each chain is very different because there are linked different agents in each case. The disposition of funds could let us to join different stage than the consideration of incorporating it through an analysis of risk matrices. But we consider that we could begin with some few links, and if you have the necessary financial disposition, we could arrive to other chains in all the vast geography of Argentina. It's our goal to could incorporate this platform to the possibility of all the chains, subject obviously to the disposition of funds. We are high expectantly that we could obtain these funds from different sources.
What are the funds required for? Can you explain that? What are the funds required for? You said you required funds. What are the funds required?
I couldn't not we couldn't estimate now because the chains are very different, but we can observe that in many cases the requirements are escalating. We could find that if one chain would incorporate to the system, it's more easily and more cheaper to incorporate other chains. But this will be, we could resolve it in the process going forward in the incorporation or through the incorporation of the different chains.
Okay. So there are two sets of questions about implementation and how going forward. The Pablo asked the question that how do you manage end users, particularly individual contractors, to adopt the app? If you were able to do it again, how would you do differently? And the second related question is, how would you go from 5,000 to 15,000? How are you scaling this up? Two questions. Really?
Yeah, okay. That was a really good question. First of all, we as in every project, and when you are running something in your first experience, we make some mistakes and we learn. It's really important to try to learn and to understand from the past. So at the beginning, we believe that the way to interact with the user is through the apps. So we build the users app, I mean the customers and the driver apps. But we figured out two things. First, that we need the exporters. We need the exporters. We need the ports, because if you put the solution in that places, they have the possibility to push the drivers to use the app because they have the demand, you know. And that is something that we change in our strategy. And right now we have 3-4 big exporters with us, but at the beginning we start in the different way. Another thing is that we feel that we have some kind of trouble to the early adopt of the app, truck drivers are not common users. So in that way, we start to work with WhatsApp, and we move our workflow through the apps to WhatsApp, just to have a light functionality through WhatsApp to users who want to interact with MuvinApp, but they don't want to use the apps. So that was another thing that we learned, and WhatsApp is right now the way that we are scaling a lot, and the project that we are doing with the Agriculture Ministry about COVID is through WhatsApp. So that another thing that we learn. And how do we are achieve 15 trucks? First of all, the power of Rosario Board of Trade is important. If you take the growth that Moving has when they are alone, and you compare with the growth that Moving has in the last 2 months, you can see a really different, because as Javier told you, we have all the stakeholders in our board, and we have the power to try to make this solution adopted. Another thing is Argentinian Agriculture Ministry. For us, it's really important to work together and to try to make this solution deeper. And the other thing is, as I told you, to try to move the technology to different layers, thin layers like WhatsApp or different version of the apps, and to work strong with exporters. And right now we have 3 big exporters working with us because they have the demand of the drivers. So I think that are all the things that we have learned, and we are doing different right now.
In relation to the incorporation of other chains, we have in the future, in the short term, a very hard work with public and private actors of each chain, because we are thinking in a jointly coordinated work with institutions of SENASA, INTA, and with the chambers or representatives of different chains to formulate jointly each matrix for each chain, each risk matrix for each chain. And we think that this is the first step to go forward to the incorporation of MuvinApp in all the chains that we could reach.
Thank you very much, Carlos and Diego. The second set of questions is about taking it to other countries. So regarding your discussions with Bolivia and Paraguay, what is the process? Is the plan to keep the rights to data with you, or would you have other companies there take the data rights and you will provide more the software as a service kind of a model? What is the business model there? What are you thinking about that? But I'm sure the other countries will have a huge demand for these proprietary kind of products and things like that. What is your current thinking on that?
I can share you what is our vision. We don't have right now a business model, but the vision, first of all, the vision that we have is that we are going to have only one product. MuvinApp is only one piece of software as a service. We are not going to develop different instances for each country, okay? So our vision is to have only one software as a service, like an example in the industry, Salesforce, for example. Second, we believe that we can do different kind of commercial partnerships in that countries to try to make the commercial activities and maybe the training and the implementing of the different users, but only the only one. It will be running in Rosario Board of Trade, and all the custom or the different development that we are going to do is just to make grow more deeper the only one product that we have.
It's a good answer. So I just wanted to ask you a question related to that, is that a lot of countries in the COVID environment are looking for similar agrologistics kind of solutions now. So what would your advice to be a country which is starting now on how they should approach that based on your learnings till now? What is the way they should invest in these solutions? What is the sequence of investment they should do from both the public side and the private side? What are the policy things we need? And what are the actual implementation and investments we need in these platforms? What will be your advice to new countries which are trying to do that?
We are doing our first step here. If you, as a concept, you have to think that the technology is available to scale. You know, the only thing that you need is to get to the platform and to use our apps, and you can stay in different countries using without any kind of effort. If I have to answer, my honest answer here is we need to make some kind of pilots, you know, just to try to pilot the solution in a different countries, maybe to take 1, 2, or 3 early adopters who are interested to run the pilot and to use the standard solution. I believe that the standard solution has a lot of things that will be running without any kind of customized needed in different countries. So we need to learn. We need to run a pilot in Paraguay, in Bolivia, try to see if we can run without any kind of a special development to do it. Then, of course, we have a backlog, a technical backlog of requirements, and we are going to improve our solution with the different things that we understand. But we don't have a strategy right now. The big challenge that we have right now is Argentina. Our big challenge right now is Argentina, is the grain value chain, and is to work together with the agriculture ministry to send this solution to the other value chains. So our big challenge is Argentina. We believe that we can work in a different countries. We are really talking with 2 companies, one in Paraguay and the other one in Bolivia, who are interested to sign a partnership to try to make some commercial activities in that countries. But we need to walk this road.
Thank you very much, Diego. And there any other panelists who would like to comment on this and advise to others who want to do it? I understand Argentina has a lot to do yet, and I understand your focus is on Argentina. But if we have 16 countries asking for same solutions, same types of solutions, what is advice from both from Javier, if you want to come in, Carlos, Julian, anyone should come in now, because we need your wisdom at this stage. Yeah.
If you allow me to add some thoughts, in our short experience, I must say, it's very important to identify the different stakeholders of that particular country and stay very close to understand their needs and think some solution that maybe go beyond the COVID-19 problems. I mean, it's very important to get answers or to have some answer to the needs considering the COVID-19, but also to have a mid and long-term view in order to implement or to develop a solution that go beyond this crisis. But it's very important first to identify the stakeholder, identify the main players of each kind of stakeholder to have a partnership, let's say, with them. And then it's very important to find the problem, to identify the problem, so you can develop a solution that will help the whole industry. It's very important to know the people, to know the interests and their needs.
Very well articulated and very well put. Carlos and Julian, is there anything else you would like to say on this? Okay, Carlos, you are muted. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The ministry is willing and interested in learning in other countries and showing MuvinApp in other countries. We think for this, the support of the World Bank is absolutely very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Julian. Thanks a lot and we absolutely appreciate you coming all the way and talking. Carlos, you want to say something, or should I then go? Yeah, please go ahead if you want to say something. Otherwise, I'll open for one more round. Okay. So I think there is a chance to ask a couple of more questions from the audience. If anyone wants to ask, please raise your hand or you can come in. Diego, you wanted to say something also. If you had any question, please go ahead. And if anyone else wants, you can go for a couple of questions before I sum it up.
I shall want to add to the last question that it will be really important, maybe the professional support that the World Bank could do with us. Maybe you have different kind of studies and you are in the areas and you know the countries and you know the different needs, as Javier told you. So maybe we can work together on that way too, to understand what are the different troubles that you are looking in the region regarding this kind of solutions.
Definitely, Diego. We are doing a global also search and looking at all the solutions which have come during COVID-19. So we are collecting about 13 to 14. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Parmesh, well, I finished my allocation. I want to speak about the beautiful challenge we have with this project in order to expand it and to prove that it could be a good project to solve not only logistic problems, but two sanitary problems in this special moment that we are passing with COVID-19. Well, we are hoping that it could be the financial disposition to arrive to an excellent goal, an excellent result.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you. So basically, I wanted to I was telling that we are trying to gather global examples of who are working on exactly the issues which you are working on. Next time, we're going to convene those teams to talk to each other, basically, and so that you can learn from the other experiences what are happening. But I would confess that you are quite ahead in the game right now. You know, when I'm looking at the global approaches right now, so what is very different in your case is that a board of trade, Rosario Board of Trade, a non-profit which works with the business, working with government, with a whole amount of trust built in, is already trying to build a solution. So digital is a way to overcome some of the challenges, but unless and until you build the analog side of it, which is the trust and other things, you can't go to the digital part there. So, but there are market intelligence solutions which governments are coming up with apps, private sector is coming up with apps, startups are coming with the apps. Post COVID-19, we have looked at that there are almost like 125 apps which have come globally, basically, which are linking the market players, the farmers, the logistics providers, and all that. But what is not there is the most comprehensive part where logistics goes with the buyers. So you get a lot of buyers and farmers interacting with each other, but we don't have the logistics part, well integrated into it. So the uniqueness of your solution is that you brought the logistic providers into the solution, and you are trying to provide a more facilitating kind of mechanism to deal with that, basically. But I think what people are also trying to do is to come with different business solutions. They are bundling this service as part of the transactions, and just a very small part of transaction gets paid towards providing this service. So it is not just software as a service, but it's some part of the transaction service. So there are different business models which are emerging there. There are about 50 to 60 startups which are working on this. There are big companies which are trying to work on this. And clearly you can see even e-commerce companies in China are really working on this solution. So we just had one. I will send you one presentation by Pinduoduo, which is the second largest e-commerce company in China, which has really brought these solutions together. It's the consumers, the buyers, the logistics, and created an e-commerce platform around that. So which is, I think, also futuristic, is to look at how you can bring some of the good elements of the e-commerce platform, which uses AI and machine learning to really analyze data and give can make the system, the market intelligence system, more automated and intelligent there. So I would definitely link you up with other solution providers at very early stage. I think you guys have a lot to offer to the solutions globally, but I think you can also learn a lot from a lot of other solutions which are coming up and there. So but I think you have to develop your own unique solutions. You are already there. The most important thing what I find from what you have done is that you've created trust among various stakeholders, which Javier was talking about. I think that's the difficult thing to do, basically. And suddenly you cannot start doing it just because there is COVID. People will start trusting each other. They must have trusted themselves before COVID to be able to do things during COVID. So this is not an overnight thing, but what I see from what you are presenting, this will go way beyond COVID, which Carlos is also saying, basically, is that it's not about just COVID. It's food safety, how the transactions will happen in future, how we will have more modern logistics, agrologistics, which is digitally influenced, and where people will have different behavior, in terms of how they will operate in the supply chain. So this will go far beyond COVID. And you are investing in a system which is going to go beyond COVID. And I think I really admire the pragmatism of the government to really create space to do that, and also the entrepreneurial energy and the innovation and the ideas which the Rosario team is bringing there. So with that, I think we are, as a World Bank, very committed to work with you on this, on both learning from it, but also linking you up with other solutions, and whatever comes as the agenda of public good and private good from this, we would be very interested in developing these solutions, because logistics has not been generally part of agriculture in the past. And I think logistics is a very important part of supply chain, and we have seen this during COVID, that part got broken because of many reasons. So I think the biggest important thing will be to include logistics providers into a solution space now, and I think you are giving us very early lessons on that, on how this can be done. So we are very keen to follow what you are doing. I really appreciate Julian, Carlos, Diego, and Javier all coming and sharing their ideas, wisdom, experiences there. I also thank Pablo and our other discussant, the agribusiness specialist, who also presented, agrologistics specialists who also presented their questions. And I also thank all the participants from coming and asking very thought-provoking questions. So we are very keen to work with you very closely. Our team in LAC region is also very keen to work with globally. But globally, we will organize a session very quickly with the other teams, other government teams and private sector teams, so that you can learn from that as well. We will facilitate that in the next 15 to 20 days, and we will come back to you with that. And thank you very much once again. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And the next one is going to be the next Wednesday, which will be announced soon. Thank you very much, everyone, and take care. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.